In this video, I'll be going over the subject pronouns in Brazilian Portuguese, as well as comparing and contrasting their uses to Spanish. So first of all, we have eu, which is I or yo in Spanish. For example, I study Portuguese is eu estudo português, which is like yo estudio portugués in Spanish. And just as how the subject pronouns are often omitted in Spanish when it's clear who's performing the action, the same goes in Portuguese. So instead of saying eu estudo português, you can drop the eu and just say estudo português. Then the general way to say you is você, which is used similarly to tú in Spanish as an informal or neutral form of address, except that it takes on verbs in the third person singular like usted does. And to understand why that is, we need to know where the word você comes from. Você is derived from the word vossa mercê, which was a third-person form of address used in Old Portuguese to address nobility. This is similar to how usted evolved from vuestra merced in Old Spanish, except that usted retained its use as a formal form of address, while você did not in Brazilian Portuguese. In Brazil, você lost its sense of formalness over the centuries, and eventually it just became the general word for you. So in short, você is used like tú in Spanish, but conjugated in the third person singular like usted. So if you wanted to ask a Brazilian if they study English, you would say, você estuda inglês? Estuda from the verb estudar in the third person singular. Grammatically like estudia in Spanish, but used informally like estudias. Then the formal way of addressing someone in Portuguese is o senhor if they're male and a senhora if they're female. These are used similar to how usted is used in Spanish and also take on verbs in the third person singular. So in our example, you would say o senhor estuda inglês if they're male, or a senhora estuda inglês if they're female. Then ele and ela would be the equivalents of él and ella in Spanish. So él, ella estudia inglés would be ele, ela estuda inglés. We or nosotros in Portuguese is nós. Nosotros estudiamos portugués would be nós estudamos portugués. That said, there's another way to say we that's a lot more common in the spoken language, and that is a gente, which literally means the people or la gente in Spanish, and takes on verbs in the third person singular. So instead of saying nós estudamos português, which sounds more formal, in everyday speech, a Brazilian is much more likely to say a gente estuda português. Then you guys or ustedes is vocês, which is conjugated in the third person plural just like ustedes in Spanish. So if you were talking to a couple of people and wanted to ask them if they study English, you would say, vocês estudam inglês? Ustedes estudian inglés? Then finally, we have eles and elas, which is like ellos and ellas. To ask, ellos, ellas estudian inglés would be eles, elas estudam inglês. So using our example of the verb estudar in the present indicative as a basic model, we see that there are a max of 4 separate conjugation groups to learn per tense. The first person singular, in this case, estudo. The third person singular, estuda. The first person plural, estudamos. And the third person plural, estudam. I hope you found that useful. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribing. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Muito obrigado e até a próxima. Tchau.